This question that bothered me about the story of the Akedah, the binding of Yitzchak. When the story begins, after Hashem comes to Avraham and tells him to bring up Yitzchak, it says, Vayashkem Avraham baboker, Avraham got up in the morning, Vayachbosh es chamoro, and saddled his donkey, Vayikach es shnei na'arav ito, and took his two lads with him, Ve'es Yitzchak beno, and his son Yitzchak. So it tells us who went along with Avram. We've got a donkey, his two lads that we're told were Yishmael, his son, and Eliezer, his servant, and he's got Yitzchak, who's of course the star of the show. And then as they approach Har HaMoriah, Mount Moriah, we find again, Vayomer Avram el Na'arav, Avram said to his lads, Shvu lechem po im hachamor, stay here with the donkey, Vani vahanar, and I and the lad, being Yitzchak, Nelecha ad ko, we will go there. So again, everybody is accounted for. Avram spoke to the lads in plural, again that's to Yishmael and to Eliezer. He told him, stay here with the donkey, and he went off with Yitzchak. But then if you take a look at the end of the story, when Avram was ready to leave, it says, Vayoshav Avraham el Na'arav, Avram returned to his lads, Vayakumu, and they got up, Vayelechu Yachtov, and they went together El Beersheva to Beersheba. What's missing over here in this last verse? Where's the donkey? The donkey's gone. He saddled his donkey in the morning. He left the two of them there with the donkey. But now when he returns, the Torah doesn't say anything about the donkey. I've asked this question to many people. And the usual answer they try to give me is, well, the donkey wasn't so important, so it doesn't mention it now. But I can't accept that answer, because if the donkey wasn't important, why do you mention it to begin with? So if the donkey's there at the beginning of the story, and the donkey's there in the middle of the story, the donkey should be there at the end of the story. And if the donkey's gone at the end of the story, then there's something of significance as to why the donkey is gone. And I believe this is the answer. Our sages tell us that the word chamor, which is donkey in Hebrew, is very strongly connected to the word chomer, which means physical material in Hebrew. And the donkey actually is used as a symbol of the physical. And actually, one of the things also that our sages tell us is that by overcoming the 10th and final test that was given to him, Avram Avinu succeeded in destroying his Yetzer Hara, in destroying his evil inclination. Which what that really means is that he removed himself from any longer having a connection to this world. And he became basically a person who was totally purified. And even though he was still living here in this world for many years afterwards, but he was really living an otherworldly experience without all the lusts and desires and things that bind the rest of us to this world. So with that explanation, I think we can say that the Torah is telling us as follows. When Avram got up in the morning and he was ready to go to do God's commandment of the binding of Isaac, he was still very much connected to his physical self. He had the self-control over it. His physical self wasn't running his life, but he was still attached to it. And that's why at that point in time, Avram got up in the morning, he saddled his donkey. That shows he had control over it, but he was still connected to his donkey, he was still connected to his physical self. But when Avram left Yishmael and Eliezer and was ready to walk with Yitzchak to actually do the binding of him, that's when Avram began to separate himself from his donkey for the final time. And that's why Avram said to Yishmael and to Eliezer, you stay here with the donkey. because he didn't take his donkey with him up to Har Moriah to do the binding of Yitzchak. This is where he was really finally separating himself from it. Yishmael and Eliezer, they still had a donkey with them, but Avram didn't. And then by going up to the top of the mountain and passing the test, Avram Avinu finally severed that connection between himself and the physical world. And that's why when Avraham Avinu came back, there was no donkey to return to. He had gotten rid of it.